Welcome back to the All Things Sports Podcast, your number one sports podcast. As always, I'm your co host, Small Town EP, coming to you live from the chilly city of Atlanta. Today, I'm joined by special guest, F. Do Work. Good to have you back, sir. And of course, as always, your host, see you soon, June. Wait, Julian, call him everything but late for dinner. Gentlemen, crazy day in sports, day and a half. Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, all champions, of course, right? Bill Belichick in the NFL, Nick Saban in the NCAA, Pete Carroll in both. All Hall of Famers, arguably. Could be just my opinion, but arguably. And all either retired or were relieved of their coaching duties in the past day and a half, wild day and a half in sports. June, if I told you that we would have three Hall of Fame coaches either, again, be relieved of their duties or be fired in a day and a half 6 months ago, what would you have said?
What happened? Like what happened this season? I would have just wondered what's going on, because I would say in the fall or even in the summer, I didn't have any type of speculation that this would be Bill Belichick's last year, Pete Carroll, and Nick Saban. As the season went on and progressed, obviously things in New England just kept getting worse and worse, and you could kind of feel the pressure there, and a sense of like, yeah, maybe there is time for change here. But Seattle's had a good season the last year and a half, and obviously Alabama. I mean, they didn't get to play in the championship there, but um, they had a hell of a season there, and got to the Rose Bowl. Um, and the buck stopped there. But man, I would have just looked surprised and wondered what transpired throughout the season. So nonetheless, we're here, and these guys have done more than enough for the franchises and programs that they've been ahead of. And it's just one of those things that it kind of makes you feel like we're just getting older, right? Like LeBron's 39,
1,000%.
Curry's 34, 35, and um Nick Saban's done. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are done with football. So definitely, as a big sports fan, it's something. It's like it's a sad day because these guys mean a lot to the sport. The work they put in, and the dedication they gave to their craft is second to none. Um, and it's not like you will never see this again. You can't say that, because when John Wooden was coaching basketball, I'm sure nobody thought that there would be an Eric Spoelstra, right? But we'll have to wait his turn. Evan, it was a joke. We'll have to we'll have to wait, the next guy's turn, for them to show that they're deserving of being talked about in the same breath of a Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, or even a Pete Carroll for that matter.
Ev, like I said, good to have you back, man. And I know that you're not the biggest college football fan, but I mean, unless you've been under a rock or you've been smoking rock, you got to know who Nick Saban is. Out of these three, man, who was the biggest shock to
I mean,
see go?
it was easily Nick Saban. He could have ran that thing from a wheelchair for about like 10 more years easily, just with how they've been able to recruit, how they've been able to just stay basically at the top. Like the college football game for me, I always felt was a little bit too easy for Nick Saban. Just kind of being able to just own his recruitment, just own his success. Like Alabama's been at the top. I want to say since about 08, 09. It's 2024. That's a 15-year run. And in college football, they're always gonna pump the money into you. So it's almost like what reason would there be for you to leave? You know what I mean? You're the king of the hill. You're probably the highest paid college football coach in all the land. You can get whichever recruit you want. And it's not really pressure from the outside to go away, as there might be in an NFL situation, like with Belichick, like with Pete Carroll. So I mean, that Nick Saban's the true surprise for me. Uh, with Belichick and Pete Carroll, he's a little bit older, he's longer in the tooth, so you could kind of see that coming. And with Bill Belichick, since Brady's been gone, we're going on season 5 of No More Brady, and at some point that the breakup needed to break up the whole way. You know what I mean? Brady left. Now, Robert Kraft's sitting there. He's like, all right, I got you still, Belichick. And he wasn't able to get the same results that he once previously had. So,
Right.
a mutual parting would probably be something that might be expected.
No, I definitely agree with you. As we get Nate Perk in the green room, he's going to be up in 1 second. But I do definitely agree with you. Pete Carroll being a little older, it did seem a little weird for him to get out of there, and just like the way that it happened personally. Um, and then for Nick Saban, it just seemed like the time was right. Like,
Hey, EP, I don't want to cut you off here on your thought, but we are getting some feedback. I'm not sure if that's affecting the listeners. So Nate, if he wants to maybe put some headphones on, that'll really help us out. But go ahead.
and we'll bring him up in a second. But it just seemed like for Pete Carroll, it was a little weird. Like I was saying, for Nick Saban, I feel like the time was right. Um, you know, preventing Georgia from three-peating. What happened in the Rose Bowl is what happened in the Rose Bowl, but preventing Georgia from three-peating. What happened in the Auburn game, 4th and 30 or whatever that was, and all of that. I think that it just felt right for Nick Saban. The biggest one for me personally was Bill Belichick. Like I said, I saw him not leaving his coaching duties, but definitely leaving his GM, position and his NFL. I mean, his operational part of the team anyway. I didn't see him leaving, so that was kind of a shock to me. I want to get Nate Perk up here really quick. He resident Pats fan, as they say. And Nate Perk, Nate Perk live in the building, fella, ATS fam. What it is, what's good, Nate? I know that you are obviously, it's on record. You're a Pats fan. How do you feel right now, man? Is this a shock to you? Did you see this happening? Were you hoping that he would come back? And was this the absolute only remedy to kind of steady the ship at this point?
I don't know if we got Nate Perk or we lost Nate Perk.
Nate Perk, we got you, Nate.
Looks like we got to get him in a second here. Well, we tried. Nate wasn't I guess Nate is not feeling the vibes. He does not agree with Bill Belichick leaving the Patriots. But listen, we're just trying to bring you guys a good show here. Bring some callers in, and when you are new at things, sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. But we work through them, and we appreciate the listeners for sticking with us here.
No, absolutely. He did mention to me earlier that obviously he's hurt as a Pats fan. Um, so, I mean, I could imagine that if it wasn't technical difficulties, he was, as you did the other day, was just letting it breathe for a second, letting it breathe for a second. But let me bring some
Right,
stats.
right.
let me get some stats for you, okay? This is, like I said, shocking to me. Bill Belichick, 266, 121 in the regular season, 30 wins, 12 losses in the postseason, 6 Super Bowl titles, 9 AFC titles, 13 AFC title games, and 17 AFC East titles in his tenure as the Patriots head coach. I mean, between that and like I said, Pete Carroll, he's had winning seasons. The only real losing season that he still made the playoffs, and that was the year that Russell Wilson was on his way out to be traded to the Denver Broncos. So, like I said, I didn't really agree. I didn't agree with the Pete Carroll firing, or I should say, he'll be with the team in different remedies, different methods, as they say, whatever that means. Kind of wild to me. Kind of wild to me. We got a stacked NFL wildcard weekend this weekend. I'm super excited, obviously.
Hey, EP, Kev's in the comments, man. So shout out to the chat, right? We got Kev, we got Brill in there, Sunshine State, Ray, Cam. Shout out to y'all for pulling up. Kev started this off here in the chat saying the Jets started the Patriots dynasty with the Mo Lewis hit and ended it with the final dagger through the heart of the Belichick era. I'm not gonna let him do this here, and I do get what he's saying, and it makes a little everything Kev says makes sense. That's why when I don't agree with him, I get upset because he's making a point. But let Bill Belichick have his moment here. We're not going to talk about the New York Jets on Wild Card weekend and Belichick, moving on from the Patriots day. Okay, so.
Damn, it seems like we might have lost June for a second too. June, we're not getting your audio right now. Oh, you're
You know
back.
what, man?
And you're back.
I'm not gonna lie. We have a live exclusive show here tonight. This is not going to be on any streaming platform. I'm just letting y'all know this now because clearly we got some shit to work through, and we're gonna work through it. But we're here, and we're not gonna be rushed through it. And our listeners and our supporters are gonna understand that. So we appreciate y'all. But Sunshine State did comment that the NIL ruined the game, and he's talking about college football, and so. I wholeheartedly agree. There was a tweet. It was a joke saying that Bill Belichick is real as fuck Nick Saban is real as fuck because he retired the year that they discontinued Hellcats. So how's he gonna get these recruits coming to Bama if those those Hellcats ain't hurting? So I just wanted to let that out. Say what's up to the chat. Appreciate Ray Cam letting us know we got the audio back. Looks like Cardi's in the green room. He's got his little boy with him, man. I'm excited to hear what he's got to say. This is a sad day in New England sports, man. I'll say that. But I'm gonna let you get that off, EP.
Yeah, Cardi, I want to see if we got your audio right now. Live show, but you are live.
Oh, we got him.
We got him.
You got him?
Cardi,
Yeah.
Cardi,
What's up,
listen.
Cairo?
Look at Cairo.
Say hi.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, what's
Cardi,
going on, yo?
we appreciate you tapping in, man. I know you small town pioneer family, ATS affiliate, also a Boston native. Played
Yeah,
football in high school. How
yeah.
shocking was it for you to wake up this morning and see the news of the Patriots parting ways with Bill Belichick?
Hey, man. Hey, first and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for having me and Cairo on the ATS pod.
Hey.
Long time coming, but for the most part, that's like a part of my childhood. That's like going away. It's a part of growing up, man. It's one of those things where it's just like shit. Like we're in a new era, new time. A lot of the NFL is like I don't know, like the Shield is like making a whole transformation right now. So the face of football is no longer Tom Brady and the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
it's a lot different. It's a lot different right now, and that's something that as a Patriots fan you got to get used to. We might have some Dolphin years. We might have some Dolphin years coming up. You know what I mean? But like I think I don't know, to talk about the new era. I can't. I don't know. Like it's really all the way up in the air. Like the past 5 years, I don't think we've made like some good trades as far as like getting the defense together. But that offense has struggled for the past 5 years. So hopefully when we get the offense together and kind of be more dynamic on the field in the offensively, then maybe we'll make an impact and make a run for like a playoff or maybe wild card. But it's little steps right now, so that's where we're at.
Listen, I'm on record saying you guys should have kept him as a head coach and should have taken away his GM duties. Do you think this was the only way to steady the ship at this point, was to kind of just relieve him entirely, Cardi, or do you think that there could have been another way?
100%, because I mean, let's be honest. Like, the saying of the Patriot way, like that's being rebranded right now. You know what I mean? And to do that, you can't really like keep holding on to little pieces of like what you're trying to rebrand. So I think
Yep.
completely just like letting go on that, letting go of the past and rebuilding and trying to like make a difference right now is definitely the right direction that they're trying to go in. So but yeah,
Yeah.
You say goodbye
Cardi, I got a question.
and say thank you. Go ahead.
I got a question for you, Cardi. As far as getting rid of the old and in with the new,
Yeah.
how would you feel about an old player for you guys, but maybe a new coach, and we're talking Mike Vrabel.
Mike.
How would you feel about
Yeah,
Mike
I knew you was
Vrabel
gonna
getting
say
a
that.
head coaching job?
I would, I would like that if Belichick stayed. You know, there we could kind of flirt with the idea of like still keeping that Patriots way, and you know with that would kind of just be like, all right, like it wouldn't be much of a rebrand. It would be kind of just like, hey, let's stick with like, let's go a little bit harder and like, let's, try to stick with this Patriots way of like, trying to do things and bring in that hardcore defense and that, lightning offense type of thing. So if not, but for me, it's really like Mike Vrabel. Like, I don't think that's like the right direction for us right now. I think we need something like completely fresh.
Cardi, we appreciate you tapping in, man. We're gonna go ahead and get Nate Perk back up here. I think we do have him, but
I
thank you so
appreciate
much for
y'all boys,
tapping
man.
in. Thank you,
I
thank you,
appreciate
thank
y'all
you.
boys. Keep grinding.
Always love, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Already.
There we go. We got Cardi, man. Our first live guest. That's love right there. I mean, Nate Perk had it in his hands, man. He just fumbled the ball. I don't know what happened. They look like Mac Jones. I don't got EP's audio though. Am I bugging?
I can hear you, June.
What up, Perk?
We're good. I'm here. Nate Perk is good too.
All right.
What's up, y'all, man? Appreciate y'all for having me on the show, too. I appreciate everything y'all doing. I miss y'all boys, too, man. I can't catch good to see y'all boys, man.
Hey, I miss you too. I think we got some feedback on those headphones. You might want to just unplug them. We'll just rock with them unplugged. I know I suggested you have them on.
Hold on.
We're gonna get it all figured out by next week. I promise y'all, man.
Nah, we're good.
Hey, we got the comments, the chat going crazy. They said Nate using a toaster right now.
Oh man, Nate, I think you still might be on mute right now. Now that you unplugged your headphones. This is great.
Nate
I
just
love this.
yeah, it is great. I think he has to go to the source now and choose his default microphone. It's a whole bunch of shit when you're running a live show, but if you got a couple entertaining guys like us, it'll be no problem to sit there through a little back and forth figuring out.
Nate, we got you or not yet? Nah, we're still
Don't
having
look like it.
yeah, we're still having technical difficulties with Nate
Y'all
right
can hear
now.
me?
Yes, there
Hey,
we
there we
go.
go. Perk,
There we
fella.
go. Fella.
What's
Nate,
up, y'all? Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. Hey, appreciate y'all having me, man. For real, for real. I appreciate this shit.
always,
Of
man,
course.
always, of course, man. Your family, so we
Hey,
more
it's
than
always
happy.
a spot at the table for Big Perk, Nate Perk. You
You
know what I'm
know what
Yeah,
I'm
saying?
man.
saying?
I am part of ATS. You know what I'm saying? They forgot
Yes,
about me.
sir.
Oh
I
man.
am a part. I am a parlay boy. You know what I'm saying?
And Nate is in the group chat that we reference a lot in this on this pod. So Nate, I know you mentioned a little earlier. People were referencing LeBron James' retirement. You said that you would cry probably on his farewell tour. I want to know how
Absolutely.
you would. I want to know how did you feel waking up this morning, seeing the news that you guys were parting ways with Bill Belichick after
I'm not gonna
24
lie.
seasons?
I shed tears, bro. Like I love this team. I'm not gonna lie. I love this team. I shed tears on the FedEx truck, but I get it because Bill Belichick, he's used to a standard. You feel what I'm saying? He's used to a winning standard. He's used to a winning formula, but it kind of stings a little bit because attaching his greatness to Tom Brady. You feel what I'm saying? We drafted Mac Jones in 2021. We did make a wild card game. We went 10-7 that year. We got our ass speed blowout by the Buffalo Bills. And I made a list. I made a list. You guys. I hope you guys don't mind me pulling this up really fast. Give me a second.
Of course not.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah,
We
you're
can
good. We
still
can
hear
still
you.
hear you.
Okay, Bill Belichick has 333 wins all time as a head coach. I think he's the greatest head coach of all time just by his accomplishments. You know what I mean? 17 divisional titles he has. and 9 AFC championships. But let's just move on to the post Tom Brady era. We drafted Matt Jones in 2021. He threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That's 2021, right? We went to the a wild card game when I just said we got blew out by Buffalo Bills. 2022, this is Mac Jones again. He threw for 2,997 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. And then moving on to this year, we won 4 fucking games. 4 games. Mac Jones threw for 2,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he's had years to prove that, okay, can you get it done without Tom Brady? And it's just been a decline ever since. And Mac Jones, I don't know if it's because it's a lot of pressure on him to be a great successor to Tom Brady. You know what I mean? It's a lot of. I feel bad for Mac Jones. I can't lie, because you can tell he's lost all his confidence, bro. He don't have no confidence, and I just feel like the decision was made because we're just not winning football games. We don't have an identity right now, so I get it. Robert Kraft had to make a decision, and I don't know what Cardi's talking about. I love to have Mike Vrabel back in here. I love it. I love to have Mike Vrabel back.
Fair. And I don't want to speak for Cardi. My sense of like what he was, the message he was pushing is more like maybe looking for more of a fresh offensive minded coach, who's younger and is adapted to the new schematics of how offenses are run. Ben Johnson, I always
Absolutely.
bring him up. But I get you. Mike Vrabel was an excellent coach. As much as I talk a lot of
And
shit
he's a
about the
player's
Tennessee
coach.
Titans,
He's a
Mike
player's
Vrabel
coach
did a
too.
great job. Yeah, for sure. And he's
Yeah,
still relatively young.
I don't feel Bill Belichick was like a great. He was people gonna respect Bill for what he does. He's excellence personified. You know what I mean? But I don't feel Bill Belichick was the greatest player coach. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
he's one of those type of guys that'll tell you, look, you did a good job, keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than
I
that,
mean, listen, I don't think being a player's coach necessarily, gets you wins. So at this point, you need to find somebody who's going to one, build the identity, as you mentioned, that you guys are kind of lacking now. And just to jump off of that topic and just more on the Bill Belichick and Brady discussion, it's a little unfair, to attach their legacies 100%. But I mean, we all watched it, right? We all watched since 2001 till 5 years ago. It was Brady we called it the Brady and Belichick era. And so ever since Brady left, Brady went on to find more success, won another Super Bowl. Obviously, supremely talented team he played for. However, something was missing in New England, and it was more than just Brady. And so I'm not sure how or why Bill Belichick couldn't figure out how to get the right group of guys in the room, um, how to produce a team of competitive football year in and year out, like you guys have done for the last 20 years. Whatever the case is, something changed, and it changed right when Brady left. So it is something you got to acknowledge, and I would hope that Bill continues his coaching legacy, somewhere prestigious,
Hmm.
maybe in Vegas, so that he can just have another shot at, building on what he's already been, and that's the best coach in the NFL of all time.
chest that you said that, Julian. I'm grabbing my goddamn chest. It hurted. It's hurting saying that, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
bro. Like I said, bro, we don't, because each year, those 3 years of Tom Brady's departure, we finished top 10, top 15 in defensive ratings. We have a good defense, but we can't score points. Mac Jones is just,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, bro. I think we need to get a quarterback. I don't know if it's Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? But something has to give. Goddamn it, I'm getting frustrated.
Nate, hey man, we appreciate you coming on. Give your 2 cents. I'm sorry for your loss. I'll say that. But better days ahead, my brother. It was a pleasure having you, man.
Appreciate y'all having me on, man. Keep doing what y'all doing. Best sports podcast on the planet. Fuck Brian the planet. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I heard him. I ain't say it. Ev, what up, man? I miss you.
I'm sorry. It seems like every time I hang up on a guest, my audio hangs up on me too. So, as I was saying, we're gonna move on to wild card weekend because we do have a stacked wild card weekend, gentlemen. And you know what? I'm just gonna get straight into it. We're gonna talk about this blizzard of a game that we're supposed to have on Saturday evening. We'll get to the Saturday afternoon game. I just feel like the Saturday evening game is a little more exciting for obvious reasons. You guys see it. You see it. All right. The Miami Dolphins week whatever rematch. I think it was like week 5 or 6 rematch, but this time, eh, it'll be in Kansas City. Projected weather's like -5 degrees. The line is Kansas City -5 at the crib. Tyreek Hill's return. The NFL script is going crazy right now. Ev, what is going to be the key if the Dolphins are going to be able to pull off this upset?
Hey, we actually don't, Ev, we don't got your audio right now. I'm not sure if you can help us in figuring that out, but I'll just relay and take the question from you. Uh, Honestly, my mind was on Ev and his audio. Can you actually just repeat the question? What is it going to
No.
take for the Dolphins to go into
If
Arrowhead?
if the Dolphins are going to pull up this upset, what is going to be the key for them to do so?
Man, I think just finding consistency in their run game, man. They when they run the ball good, they win. And obviously you just mentioned the weather and how cold it's going to be. Man, Raheem Mostert. All right, I'll just say that X factor. Raheem Mostert. He's a guy who found the end zone all season. He broke a record, for the Dolphins as far as single season touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and if they want to beat Kansas City in the Patrick Mahomes era in Kansas City, which is something that I think was only done. Brady's done it, and Joe Burrow did it. Tua, if he wants to be that third guy, he's not going to have to rely so much on his arm, but more so on the O line and the run blocking game. Hopefully we got Ev back here. The chat is killing us, by the way. I hope y'all know that, man. This show is like I said, this is a live show. We're gonna stay here. We got some viewers in here, so I'm happy. But I let them know we are in the trenches right now. We had Nate's audio all fucked up. Ev's playing with his camera. Ants cracking on us. They saying Nate's in a toaster. It's all good though, man. Like you said, like Nate said, this is the best sports show in the planet. So
What do you want us to do?
where else you gonna go?
You know what I mean? What do you want us to do? Hey, but I agree with you, man. I think that the Chiefs get burnt. And listen, I'm a Chiefs fan, obviously. You guys see it. We get burned on play action a lot, and if we make the wrong read, it's very bad. And like you said, I think that Raheem Mostert setting up that run game for Miami would be key because if you set that up, you move into play action, and although our defense is top notch, we do get burned in the play action game a whole lot. June, let's take it to the flip side. And outside of the catching the ball when Patrick Mahomes throws the ball, what are going to be the keys for Kansas City to pull off this win and move on to the divisional round?
They're gonna have, yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna have to catch the ball. Honestly, that's and it's much harder to catch the ball as the colder it gets. That's a fact. And so, man, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are gonna have to dial it up, right? Um, but getting to the quarterback, I think getting to the quarterback is going to be very, very key. Your boy, George Karlaftis, I think, he can have a pretty good game here. Chris Jones in the middle disrupting everything. If Chris Jones can disrupt that run game enough, and make them uncomfortable and start forcing the throw, which they've shown to do once they don't like the way the run game's working, that can lead to more quarterback pressures and with that possibly turnovers. So getting to the quarterback to me is going to be a big thing for the Chiefs here, and stopping the Dolphins on third down. You get a couple third down stops in crucial moments, man, and those are like momentum killers, drive killers, and that'll do the work for itself because that stadium is no joke. Like the crowd atmosphere in Arrowhead is going to be electric, and it's going to be cold as fuck, and the fans don't care. The tickets are like $57 for the cheapest ticket. If you look at any other game, I think I was looking at the Baltimore Ravens cheapest ticket is like $320 to sit in the nosebleeds. They're selling tickets for $55 to go sit in, negative negative degree weather. And in the chat, he's asking, do Dolphins fans show out for the game? Man, honestly, I don't see it happening. If there are any Dolphins fans in the, Midwestern region or so, uh, obviously they'll do their due diligence to make their way. But like, as far as a traveling crowd from Miami or South Florida in general, whew,
I
I don't know
actually,
too many.
so I was supposed to have, as we welcome Marlon onto the show, ATS family member.
Yo.
But I actually have some friends
Yo, yo.
that was supposed to come over for the game this weekend that live in Georgia that are from South Florida, and they're supposed to come through. And up until today, they were going to come through. This morning, me and my girl get a text that says, "Hey, we bought tickets right behind the Miami Dolphin bench for $180 each, and we're going to the game, so we will not be at your place this weekend."
That's crazy.
So I guess, hey, to answer that, I guess they do travel, and they travel very well, apparently. Marlon, what do you think is going to be the key for you guys to pull off this upset this weekend at Arrowhead, buddy? Oh,
As we lose Marlon.
as we lose Marlon, let's go.
This is man. We're gonna look back on this one day. Ant, I think we got a job for you, buddy. All right. If you're still watching, Ant, drop a comment in the chat. Let us know you're still here, Antoine, and let us know that you are willing to take the position of producer for the live stream at 5 cents a minute. We got you, bro. Let me do the math on that, because 5 cents a minute sounds fake expensive.
I was thinking, I was like, yo, what's that add up to? What's that add up to? I think that we
we $3 an hour. We're good. We can afford that.
I think that we do have Marlon back. Let me pull him back up really quick.
He ran away like the Dolphins fans.
Stop.
He's a no-show like the Dolphins fans.
Hey, EP, I mean, I don't know if we could just have a conversation about playoff games, because the Colts can't catch and make it, and they could have won the division, but hey, life goes on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be the key for you guys to pull off this upset in Arrowhead this weekend, Marlon?
So I think the biggest key is definitely our run game. We have number 2 rushing attack in the whole NFL this year, and we have, I think, the 15th rushing attempts. So with Achane coming in with about 8 yards of carry, and our O-line finally, healthy enough. We don't have our starting center. Obviously, he's out for the season. I believe with Achane and Mostert coming back, he's missed the last 2 games, so he should be coming in a little bit here.
Hey, real quick, Marlon. I don't want to be that guy. I was gonna make a joke, but the chat's letting us know that you got you've got Amish internet, all right, and so you need to pay your bill so that we can actually hear you. We're getting a lot of feedback though. We hear, okay, so it's a bad quality, but we hear him. On my end, it's not so bad quality. I'm just having a hard time really understanding what you're saying. I'm not trying to be that guy, y'all. I'm just trying to make sure this show runs as smooth as possible, even though it's not smooth at all. And now we got Ev back. It's a magical reason, upside down on the stream. At this point, EP, the Steelers are going to beat the Bills. The Dolphins are going to beat the Chiefs. The Bengals are going to get a free playoff spot. What the hell?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it looks like we got Marlon. It looks like we are pulling Ev back up right now. But Marlon, finish what you were saying about your number 4 or number 2 rushing attack.
I heard something about number 15, right? Oh, man.
Nah, yeah, we don't got him. We don't got him. I don't know what's going on. Our phone
No more
lines.
guests. All right. The phone lines. And we appreciate Marlon. If we don't get Ev back by the end of the show, who was supposed to be a full-time guest today, we appreciate him as well. But we've got to do what we got to do and get a show off because we're not even through the first game of our wild card weekend.
No, absolutely. Listen, you guys know who I got winning. The line opened at 3.5. It's right now 5 in favor of Kansas City at the crib. Line's moving, it's moving fast. So you know what I'm saying. Get the good bet in while you can get the good bet in. I'm interested to see Tyreek Hill's return to Kansas City because, like I said, the NFL script is going crazy. June, Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate CJ Stroud is hosting a playoff game. Now, if I would have told you that,
Hold on. You got to remember, if you get a guest or if you remove a guest, you got to unmute. I can't keep a straight face tonight. I'm sorry, bro. I'm fucking crying. Oh, shit. What's up with CJ Stroud, man?
it doesn't even mute me. It just kind of takes away my audio like power. So
Jesus
as a-
Christ.
as I was saying, CJ Stroud, Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate and Rookie of the Year candidate, is hosting a playoff game. And if I would have told you that when he was drafted back in April, what would you have said to that, boss?
I would have said, well, shit. When did Anthony Richardson get hurt? Nah, but it's not something that I'm like super surprised about. CJ Stroud showed us in college that I keep looking at the comments and it's getting me, it's making me laugh. But CJ Stroud is a quarterback in college who showed us he has an NFL quarterback's arm, right? A 2023, 2024 quarterback's arm. He can make all the throws outside, inside. He puts it on a line. He can throw 60 yards deep. Um, and he's as accurate as they come. He's probably the most accurate quarterback in the draft. And that's why, teams wanted him top 5. Now, I'm not gonna lie, hosting a divisional game or wild card game, you know what I mean, as a division winner, super surprising to me because who in their right mind thought that just by hiring D'Amico Ryans, drafting CJ Stroud and Will Anderson was gonna kind of amount to winning the AFC South and hosting, right? So it's just a credit to them. It's a credit to them. I hope that they're going to be able to kind of hold down home court, if you will, home field advantage. I love the Joe Flacco story and what he's been able to do, and then like him being able to go against Baltimore deeper in the playoffs is just something that I think the NFL script, is set out for. But at the same time, man, who wouldn't want to keep seeing this story of CJ Stroud um, just kind of balling on the NFL every week? So I'm excited to watch this one. Ev, what are your thoughts on this game here?
This game should be fun, which is odd because most Texans games in the playoffs are the opposite of such. But now that you got CJ Stroud in the mix in there, the story with Joe Flacco, shit is sweet for Joe Flacco right now. Like, honestly, he's just tossing the ball downfield, and it's either a pass interference or a 60-yard gain. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, an interception to him, that's nothing but a punt, baby. Like, they're moving the ball downfield. So you like to see it. They probably got the coach of the year with Stefanski, just based off you got 4 different starting quarterbacks and you're able to win 11 games in the toughest division in the entire NFL. You can't.
No
You
Nick
can't.
Chubb.
Yeah. No Nick Chubb. 4 different starting quarterbacks. So I'd like to see what the game plan would be, especially for the Browns defense, who's got the fastest, probably meanest defense in the entire league. They should take care of business against the Texans. Like it's cool to get a rookie guy come in. The lights are now bright. You know what I mean? There's no other games playing on Saturday when it's the Browns
Right.
versus the Texans. You know what I mean? Like all the eyes on you now. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, and I think a very, very mean, fast, and intense Browns defense.
Fast Browns defense. Colts defense nowhere near of that one of the Cleveland Browns, and a game record like Myles Garrett really, really, poops on the party. So he's going to have his hands full with CJ Stroud, but I mean, we saw plays on third down that CJ Stroud was able to make. He went 20 of 26 in that week 18 game to clinch the division and the playoff spot. And like off his back foot, fade away, leaning to the left, just throwing across field. He does things sometimes that quarterbacks shouldn't do. And this is Patrick Mahomes-esque, if you will, just in the same breath of being kind of unorthodox at times and being able to make things work when they look like they won't. CJ Stroud is that type of quarterback, and so I'm not going to count him out. I do see Ev's point. Excuse me, I missed Kev. I do see Ev's point here as far as that defense is going to bring a lot of pressure. But man, they better take advantage of having home field advantage. That's kind of their biggest thing here. Um, the chat is going crazy, yo. This is now bro's like shit got me crying. At least you guys read the comments now. Chat's getting on our ass. This is definitely our best show to date. Um, and we'll just own it like that.
Yeah,
Antoine said,
and now we got Ev upside down. This is awesome. This is great.
yeah, I don't know what's going on, but Antoine said if not the Colts, I thought it would be the Jaguars. I was not expecting this CJ. And he said,
Yeah.
yeah, the Browns should clean up. Hey, yo.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to point out, I know we're talking NFL here. This is just one reason why I am more of an NFL fan than an NBA fan. I'd rather watch two random teams in the NFL play than two random teams in the NBA, because I guess we were set to see the number one and number two seeds in the Eastern Conference playing a great game on a Thursday night on TNT, but it's, almost midway through the second quarter, and Milwaukee's up 46-23 on Boston. It's just like, I don't respect this. Like, teams get blown out way too often here in the NBA, and we're talking about 25-point, 30-point games. The Warriors got shafted last night. It was embarrassing. Steph Curry is kind of just putting his head backward and hyperventilating at this point, because who's going to save him? Draymond ain't. But back to the NFL. They calling you Spider Ev, by the way, Ev. Kind of hanging upside down there.
Yo, we're gonna Ev, I know you had a lot to
Viral.
say. Yeah, I know you had a lot to say about the Dolphins Chiefs game. I wish I could get some of that info from you, but time doesn't admit us to. So we're gonna move on to Saturday afternoon, 1:00. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. This is the largest spread, pause, as far as points are concerned. This weekend in the NFL wildcard weekend. It's Buffalo favored by 10 points. I will definitely say that Watt being out for the Steelers plays a part in it being all the way at 10 points. I don't believe that it opened at 10 points. It opened at 9.5, and now it's at 10. Whew. I know I went off the deep end last episode, and I said, hey, I think that the Steelers might be able to pull this off. That was prior to the Watt being out, the news of Watt being out. June, I know you had a lot to say about Mason Rudolph and the amount of haters that he has. And on the other end of that, I be having a lot to say about that guy by the name of Josh Allen and his, tendency to throw it to the other side, to throw it to the team in the wrong colors.
Yeah. I think it's his due diligence more so than a tendency at this point. But
will Josh Allen and company be able to limit the turnovers against Pittsburgh this weekend?
I mean, I think that's the question. Like, that's kind of what I was going to ask as far as the Bills being able to win. If they can they? Then I do think they can handle the Steelers. But the Steelers are a team that creates a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Granted, TJ Watt will be out. Alex Highsmith still in there. Cameron Hayward still in the middle. And that defense flies to the ball. They've got great defensive backs who play, man coverage, real sticky. And so they have the setup and the making to be able to compete and win this game on defense. The problem is whether Josh Allen makes no mistakes or maybe only one or two. Mason Rudolph, again, I'm going to go back on my thing, like I said, and I know Brill's watching, so shout out to Brill. I appreciate you. He is our fellow Pittsburgh Steelers fan. If Mason Rudolph has 100 haters, I'm one of them. If Mason Rudolph has one hater, it's me. And if Mason Rudolph has no haters, it's because I've passed away. So what I wanted to point out real quick, this is from at the Pony Express. His bio says I talk about sports in Pittsburgh on 937 The Fan, also seen on FanDuel TV. Um, he says per KDKA radio, that's 100.1 FM and 1020 AM radio, trusted source in Pittsburgh. He says the host, Marty Griffin, says sources tell him that Steelers Bills could get moved to Cleveland if lake effect weather and state of emergency is declared in Western New York on Sunday. He says that the Browns stadium officials have been told to be ready. So that's kind of an interesting development in itself. There's a funny reply to this where a Steelers fan says, okay, well, now we have a home game. I think that's awesome. But I don't want to just talk about that possibility so much because that could just kind of go over and not happen at all. And we'll let that happen when it happens. But like I said, man, I don't think Mason Rudolph has enough in him to pull out, a win here against a team like Buffalo. And Buffalo's defense is no slouch. Obviously, they're not the same threatening defense that they were last year. And Von Miller is nowhere to be found. But they still have won 5 or 6 straight to put themselves in position to host a playoff game in Wild Card Week. So,
Which and the winning streak for me was, granted, again, TJ Watt's out, but the winning streak for me was at some point that has to end, and I don't see them going on this crazy win streak and then getting to the Super Bowl. I just don't see that happening. So for me, I just feel like that had to end, and with the Steelers defense, again, TJ Watt, with the Steelers defense, I feel like there was a high probability that could happen. Ev, do we have your audio, Spider Ev, right now? And the answer to that is
I think we done lost.
We got visual. We don't got the audio for Mr. Spider Ev, and we don't have visual.
We rather listen to him. Man. We don't really care to see him. I'll tell you that. Real quick, we could go to the chat. Like this is great. Where times like this where we having a miscue on the show, and we could just go to the chat and kind of start shouting people out. Look, Brill is the Steelers fan. I did mention him. He did say if Minka's back, we got a chance. I do believe he's back. I think I saw a report today saying he is back at practice with them. We won 3 straight with corners playing safety. Real shit about the home game. And he said Mason Rudolph's Linsanity run. I don't know, bruh. I have no expectation. To be honest, he's only surprised me up to now. Dude's been balling for real, though. Our run game is picked up, though, and that's been the key to our offense. And everything Brill's saying is very fanned out, but it's true. And I'll give him that. It is true. Mason Rudolph has been playing good football as of late. They did play, a second string Ravens team to clinch their playoff berth and got some luck around the league. That's how it worked out for them, and I'm not mad at it. So shout out to the Steelers. Jaylen Warren is going to have a good game here because – yeah, y'all not going to be able to throw up and down on those Bills. Antoine said TJ Watt is out. Steelers losing head-to-head against Bills. Steelers toast. Simple as that. So,
and with that,
lost Ev. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think we did lose Ev. He texted me privately and said that the room is cursed today. I don't think it's that, but we're definitely having some technical difficulties. Listen, I know I mentioned.
Go join us in the chat, Ev.
I know I mentioned the NFL script going crazy with Tyreek Hill's return to Kansas City in the wild card round. CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, hosting a playoff game in his first season. And then now we have Mike McCarthy hosting his former team in the Green Bay Packers with a red-hot Jordan Love, who, by the way, the only person that's thrown more yards than him this season is a man that's going to be in Kansas City this week on the away side by the name of Tua Tagovailoa. Red-hot Jordan Love, Mike McCarthy hosting his former team. I know that Mr. Jones said that McCarthy's job is good. Me and Kev on the last episode said we don't know about that if you lose in the first round to your former team. But with that being said, June, does Jordan Love have enough ammo to come in to AT&T Stadium and give the Cowboys their first loss at home of the season?
I think he does. I think he does have enough ammo. This is the youngest team, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to clinch a playoff and make a playoff in the NFL. You got to just kind of give credit to the Packers for what LaFleur has been able to do with Love, and credit Love himself for, being able to just understand his role in that franchise and then in that offense once his name was called, and just keep his head down and really get to work. Jordan Love is a guy who, coming out of the draft, we knew he had a big arm. He's one of those guys like Zach Wilson, where we knew he could make every throw.
Mm-hmm.
He had an amazing arm, but was he really a good quarterback? And look, the Packers have their thing, right? They know how to groom their guys, and it worked out for him as well. So yes, I do think he has enough, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Because one, let's not forget, Micah Parsons is a game wrecker himself, right? And I don't think as a rookie quarterback, a rookie to the playoffs type quarterback, you want to see Micah Parsons coming off the edge. Um, Deron Bland is a Defensive Player of the Year finalist, well deserved, because the man intercepts everything coming his way. In a year where Trayvon Diggs goes down and tears his ACL early in the year, and your number's called to step up for that defensive back system, and people thought they were going to pick on you. That's what they thought. And you come out here and you're getting pick sixes, setting NFL records, just intercepting things and playing really good football back there. It's, mind you, you got Stephon Gilmore on the other side locking things up. Um, but all in all, I should say, CeeDee Lamb, I think, is the game breaker here. CeeDee Lamb's going to go for over 120 yards and probably scores multiple touchdowns. I know that the Packers really have to do everything in their power to let anybody else beat them but CeeDee Lamb. But CeeDee Lamb is having an MVP type of season, Offensive Player of the Year type of season. And I think he wants to make his mark in Cowboys history on Sunday. They play on Sunday, correct? I believe they play on Sunday.
Yeah, they play Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge opportunity for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to cement themselves in the Cowboys' legacy when we're talking winning, because the Cowboys get here. We talk about them all the time. They get here and they find themselves losing in the first round. They find themselves losing in the divisional. But this one really means a lot, man. There's a lot on the line for Dak Prescott coming off of what is arguably an MVP season for him. Like I said, CeeDee Lamb having the best season of his career so far, and then Mike McCarthy hosting his former team. And this is one of those, like, do it for Lil Saint, do it for Coach, man. You gotta do it for Coach.
Do it for Lil Saint. And I mean, listen, it's Dak Prescott threw for 36 touchdowns. Jordan Love was right behind him at 32. The last time that this happened, it's the second wild card game where league leaders from the regular season met up. The other one was a pair of Hall of Famers by the name of Dan Fouts that played for San Diego and Terry Bradshaw that played for Pittsburgh when San Diego beat them in 1982, 31-28. Listen, all I can say is that the total's 50.5, 50 and a half, and you should probably take the over. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I do think that Dallas pulls this one off. The Jordan Love train comes to a halt at this point on Sunday. And if you thought that Tyreek Hill return to Kansas City in the wild card weekend wasn't enough, if you thought CJ Stroud, offensive rookie of the year candidate, hosting a playoff game in Houston versus a team that has more wins than him wasn't enough, if you thought that Mike McCarthy hosting his former team in the wild card wasn't enough, Matt Stafford and the LA Rams return. Well, Matt Stafford returns to Detroit this weekend when the Rams, on this improbable playoff run that I don't think any of us had them in the playoffs at this point, well, early on in the season. Los Angeles Rams will visit the Detroit Lions this Sunday night. Detroit favored by 3 points at home, which just means they're as good as their home field advantage. So I hope that stadium is as loud as it gets, and they will play at Jared Goff-led Detroit Lions. Simple as this, June. Does the Rams run stop Sunday night.
Back there, that was kind of exciting to hear there. Ev, can you give us a hello whenever you get a chance so we know if we're rocking with you or not? Because we're about to kick you off the show. All right. All right.
I
So why don't
think
you
you're
go on and
rocking.
answer the question here then? Let's hear from Ev. We've heard enough, Julian. You're like the guy on Friday Night Lights. Shout to Geo, shout to EP because they really put that movie and forced me to watch it. But where's my helmet? Where's my helmet?
Yeah.
He's like, get in the game. Where's my helmet? Get your shit together, Ev.
So the Rams are going to beat the Lions.
Oh
The
shit!
Rams are going to beat the Lions. Yo, their weapons are weaponing too much right now, all at the same time. Between Cup, Puka, Karen Williams, Matt Stafford, he's back at the crib. You know what I mean? He's going to be super comfortable doing whatever it is that he's doing. You know, so that he knows that building in and out. He knows that those fans in and out. And I just have no trust in the Lions defense whatsoever. Like they're always in a shootout. Always in a shootout. And I just think the Rams' guns are bigger.
I like that. I'm not mad at you for thinking that. Right now, this is just too big of a moment for Detroit as a city, as a franchise, for Dan Campbell as a coach, and for Jared Goff. Let's not forget, Matt Stafford is going back to Detroit, but Jared Goff was traded from that LA Rams team because he couldn't win the Super Bowl. And they felt they needed that guy to win the Super Bowl. So, which Matt Stafford did. And I'm not saying you should be offended if a team picks Matt Stafford over you, but it's a personal thing when it's you, right? And so Jared Goff has to have that in his mind. He has to understand that, going into the game, we're the better team. Like on paper and on when you look at offense and defense, I think the Lions are a better team. Now, it gets me a little nervous when we start talking about veteran leadership, like what Stafford brings, like what Aaron Donald brings, and the we've been here before type of thing, and Detroit having the lack of experience. Um, all guts. Don't worry, Ev got 6 kids, guys. We're gonna rock with them. We love them all, so don't trip. Um, I think they're all guts, man, and they're gonna really hang their, you know what I'm saying, cojones on Sunday. The Lions are, and I think they'll prove that they deserve to be here. And this wasn't a fluky good regular season, but that the Lions are actually a for real contending team this season. Shout out to Nico. Nico's a real big Lions guy this year.
I like the Lions. I like what they bring to the table, but it's just Jared Goff does not strike me as a revenge game kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't strike me as a revenge game kind of guy. And for everything that's good about Dan Campbell is everything that could be bad about Dan Campbell. Like he will try to do some nut shit late in the game to get the Lions over the top that might end up costing them. But again, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And and then you have the history of just the Lions just perpetually just not getting the job done. On top of all of that, and Detroit in general in all sports, they're struggling. You know what I mean? In all sports, the whole shout out to Michigan and the Wolverines, but they nowhere near Detroit. Ann Arbor, I think geographically is a little bit further from out there.
That's a little far.
Geographically, they're not even close, so they can't even rub the sauce off on the Lions. Like I just think there's just too much bad history forming up over the Lions.
Word.
And their QB's coming back. I don't like it. Sean McVay is. I just don't like it.
I'll say this: if I was Monty Williams out there in Detroit, I'm doing a team bonding field trip, and we're going to watch the playoff game, see how a good team puts
no
it together
fucking cap, no fucking
on the
cap.
field, because they won the Pistons, they won. But they ain't win since. All right?
Nah, word.
They're like 1-35 in their last 36 games.
It's crazy. It's
By the
crazy.
way, shout to Brill. Shout to
Regulate
Sal
that.
Sal's in the chat, and said free Ev. Shout to the little Evs. And said Dan Campbell gonna lose. He gonna lose to a fourth, which is very possible.
Hey, and word to what Ev was saying, and Dan Campbell shooting himself in the foot. He started his starters last week, and it looks like it may have cost him 100% and 100% Sam Laporta, who had to leave the game with a knee injury. He did practice today, but he said that injury definitely didn't feel great, but he is feeling like he's bouncing back quickly. This also is not the first time that McVay and Dan Campbell will face off. In that Super Bowl run that the Rams had in the NFC Championship game, they went to New Orleans, and Dan Campbell was a tight ends coach for the New Orleans Saints. So this isn't going to be the first time. Then obviously they both weren't head coaches, but they are both familiar with each other's game. I think this is going to be a duel. I just want to believe in this magical run that Detroit's having. Just like Nico, I said at the beginning of the season, Detroit's going to win the NFC North. And I don't know. After that, I don't know. I don't know. But I did say Detroit would win the NFC North. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know who's going to win this game. I want Detroit to continue this improbable run. I just it's tough because the Rams, like Ev just said, their weapons are firing on all cylinders right now. Monday. The free falling Philadelphia Eagles. If that's not an alliteration, I don't know what is. The free falling Philadelphia Eagles will travel back to Tampa Bay, and I say back because they already traveled to Tampa Bay earlier this season and pulled off a win in week 2 or week 3. Both these teams, like I mentioned in the last pod, have done 180s in my opinion, and statistically, the stats are there. Stats don't lie. Numbers don't lie. The Eagles, 11-6. Yeah, my eyes don't deceive me. Yes, 11-6. The Bucks are 9-8. Eagles 5-4 on the road. Bucks 4-4 at home. Baker Mayfield seems to be comfortable in what he's doing towards the end of the season, and Jalen Hurts and company seem to be a little shaky, a little nonchalant. The line is Philly -3 on the road. The book says Philly 6 points better than the Buccaneers. June, how do you feel about the Philly being 6 points better than the Buccaneers on the road in their second matchup this year? It looks like we don't have June's audio. So, Ev, we do have Ev. Ev, how do you feel?
We do. So,
talk to me, Ev. Talk to me.
I live for the Eagles to do terribly. You know what I mean? Like their downfall right now. Like I enjoy hating the Eagles more than I enjoy liking my favorite team. Okay, so I like everything that's happening to them right now. They got a few, well, besides injuries, but they've been pretty ass. You know what I mean? Anytime you bring Matt Patricia in to fix a problem, like Matt Patricia answers no question unless the question is, how can I run my team suboptimally? You know what I mean? Like, how can I run my team worse? Let's bring in Matt Patricia. You know what I mean? Maybe we could get this fixed. And that's not going to work. Now, the thing is, yeah, the Buccaneers started to heat up towards the end of the season, but they scored a total of 9 points in their last 2 games. I think, like, the Saints beat the bejabbers out of them, and they were only able to hang 3 field goals on a very, very sorry Panthers. So as much as I would like to see the Eagles lose, and I think there's a chance that they can lose, the Buccaneers are not the team equipped to do such. Every play the last 2 games, you see Baker Mayfield on the field, he's just limping around. So he's not even at full strength. And, for all the weaknesses that the Eagles have on defense, like they got no linebackers, they got damn near no secondary. I heard Baker Mayfield isn't going to be enough to take advantage of what those weaknesses are. And the Eagles just have enough secondhand enough shorthand knowledge to just figure out at least this game on the road.
Yeah. You guys got me back?
Yeah, we do. Real quick, shout out to Sal in the chat. I know AJ Brown, as he just mentioned, is questionable. He's saying Bucks +6 / Bucks money line. June, how do you feel about this game? And Jalen Hurts with his injured middle finger, mad nonchalant. It popped out. I don't know what else to say. It just wasn't in the right place. We got to do better. June, how you feel about it? Are the Eagles 6 points better than the Bucks in their second meeting on the road this season?
Yeah, I think they are. I love Ev's point as far as like the Bucks, recent lack of success offensively because wins are wins, and they were able to find themselves in the playoffs and hosting, right, winning the division. But the Eagles to me are they're just at the end of that slump. Like the Bucks aren't going to be the team that eliminate the Eagles. When there's so much you have as far as pride, as far as talent, as far as what you did last year versus what you're doing toward the end of this year, all of that is on the line in Philly. And so they understand what's going on. They hear the rumblings. Oh, Coach Nick Sirianni can't get it done. Oh, AJ Brown doesn't like the locker room. And whether you think he can or can't, I think the Eagles do prove to America that they are not as bad as they've shown for the last 4.5 to 5 weeks. Uh, but they are dealing with some serious injuries. Like we said, AJ Brown with the knee, Devontae Smith goes down, and Jalen Hurts, their most important player, isn't even throwing at practice this week so far because he's trying to figure that out. A broken finger is a broken finger, no matter which way you put it. And if you've ever broken the finger, you understand it's pretty sensitive. Like, so to go out there and play football with a broken finger is one thing, but to be the starting quarterback and the guy who's got to deliver the ball to guys like Goddard, Brown, Quez Watkins and stuff, it puts a big weight on your shoulders. And so with that being said, I still do believe that that the Eagles are going to find a way to get it done. I think their defense is going to understand what's at stake here, and they'll step up to the plate. So this is not a game that I can't see the Bucks winning by any means. I don't think that it's like the Bucks have no shot here, but Philly's built for this. Philly's built for this. What's up, man? Oh, okay.
Yeah, now Philly's built to at least beat the Buccaneers. Like the Eagles are right for a loss. It's not going to happen to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are not going to.
So we don't see
This is also kind of revenge, when Brady was there, they played the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, I think, first year or so, and they kind of put the whooping to them. So this will be the Eagles' revenge playing in Tampa Bay in the playoffs first round, hopefully on their way back to another Super Bowl. Go ahead.
I guess we don't see Mike Evans and company, Chris Godwin taking advantage of Darius Slay in that Philly secondary. But listen, this is a Philadelphia Eagles team that fired Doug Peterson 2 years after he won them a Super Bowl. So hypothetically speaking, I like to play devil's advocate a lot on this podcast. If the Bucks do pull this upset off, is Nick Sirianni on the first thing smoking Tuesday morning? Yes or no, June?
Hey, just by Ev's conviction and the way he's animated about get the fuck out of here, I see his lips. I gotta go with what he's saying, man, because losing to the Buccaneers would be detrimental. Like that's a stamp. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care if you broke 2 fingers. Y'all should be able to figure this shit out. And so if you go into, wild card weekend coming off of a Super Bowl loss, starting the season off at 10-1, like you did last year or so, just kind of having that mirror season throughout the most part of the beginning, and then just kind of flailing and tanking toward the end to then lose wild card weekend versus the Bucks, unacceptable. And I could see why if the Eagles lose, Nick Sirianni's job could be lost as well.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback a little bit on that, like I live outside of Philadelphia, so I deal mostly with just Eagles fans. And even as they were winning early in the season and we're 10-1, they were like, "This team sucks. It's not good. Like we can't let y'all talk shit about the Eagles because we're still beating y'all. But we know, the calls coming from inside the house. Something stinks in here." So even Eagle fans will tell you when they were 10-1 that they were shitty, and that the big drop off that they had at the end of the season has not been a surprise to them whatsoever.
Yeah, and so I do want to say, EP, one little fun fact about Ev, man. Just like CJ McCollum, he's from Lehigh.
Yes, sir.
Damn, I absolutely had no idea. Yeah, I'm sorry you got to deal with those fans on a daily basis. I don't know what's worse to deal with, those Philly fans for you or the Dolphins fans for us. But I will digress.
I promise you, it's Eagle fans. I promise.
I promise you, it's the
It
Eagles
probably
fans.
is, bro. It probably is. And it ain't probably.
Oh my God! Very exciting wild card weekend that we have ahead of us.
Hey, EP,
Yo,
if you don't mind, real quick, Sal said Kyle Trask to the promised land. That's funny. No, Baker's gonna be in there getting the job done. Ant said would be a hell of a story for the Eagles to not only lose out the season, but also out of the first round. And that would be when you honestly when you write it down on paper and like you're having your end of the year meeting with Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and you're Nick Sirianni and they're like, yeah, man, lost the last 6 games and playoff.
Name some of the
what,
teams they
what
lost
you
to
want us to
too. On top
do?
of that,
What you
like
want
name
us
the
to
teams.
say?
it's nasty
They're
work.
gonna give them the schedule. Like, look, bro, look, hold that. And so yeah, but I wanted to go back real quick to why I think the Lions are going to beat the Rams. I wasn't done. My mic wasn't working, and I tried to get y'all attention, and I felt like a failure. A lot of people got on Dan Campbell for the lack of use of Jahmyr Gibbs, Lions' first-round pick, who I believe they moved up in the draft to get. Uh, this is a kid who rushed for 945 yards and 10 touchdowns across 15 games. And so he also has 52 catches, 316 receiving yards for a touchdown. And he's not their leading rusher. Their leading rusher has a career high year this year as far as rushing touchdowns with 13, and that's David Montgomery. He ran for 1,015 yards himself. So they've got almost 2,000-yard rushers, over 20 touchdowns on the ground. And I don't see the LA Rams finding enough to stop that. And I did want to point out that Kyren Williams
Mm.
did average 95 rushing yards over 12 games, 1,144 yards, third in the NFL with 12 touchdowns. But he's only one person, right? And they don't share the load in LA like they do. Pause. Jesus. They they don't share the ball. Oh,
Hey,
Jesus.
yo.
They don't share the rock in LA like they do in Detroit. And again, one more key factor in that game, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is a guy who's gotten better every year since he's been drafted. Very, very underrated player. Shout out to St. Raw. If you're in the Locksmith group chat, you know St. Raw. Go ahead, E.
Listen, excited. Like I was saying, exciting wild card weekend we got ahead of us. We do have some NBA headlines I want to get into before we get out of here as we hit the hour 10 mark right now. If you're tuned in watching this live, thank you so much. Once again, you could have been anywhere in the world on this beautiful evening, Thursday night, but you're here with us in the ATS family, and we thank you for that. Chat going crazy. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Listen, Tuesday night, we recorded Tuesday evening, Tuesday night. The Toronto Raptors played the Los Angeles Lakers in a very, very, very close game towards the end. That the Lakers inched out to the tune of 132 to 131. That wasn't the headline.
Let me stop. Just to prove that I ain't no goddamn Lakers fan.
Listen, the box score wasn't the headline, right? Anthony Davis going for 41 and 11, right? Was the headline up until the post game press conference when the Raptors head coach, and I wish I had this audio. Look, we just started getting the callers in, family. We're gonna start getting the audio, clips in here too, the sound bites in here as well soon. Don't worry, we're working on all that. But this man went on a rant, and I've told June I don't really want to talk about the refs anymore in any sport because that's all we've been talking about all season. And honestly, if it wasn't for Darko, I don't want to butcher his last name, so Coach R's rant after the game on Tuesday night, Rajakovic, we wouldn't be talking about this. But I don't know if they've laid down a fine for him yet because they
25 bans 6 hours ago.
Oh, all right. So he was fined 25,000 for essentially questioning the integrity of the game, and I was cool with the rant, with the rant, not do rant, but with the rant,
Mhm.
up until he was like, if they need to win, let us know because we don't have to show up if you guys are gonna have them win. And I was like, oh shit. And I get you questioning the rest, but you can't question the integrity of the game like that because I'm surprised they didn't fine him six figures. That's why I thought it was gonna be $100,000 fine. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie because
Right.
that is some crazy, which kind of leads me to think that they know he has a point. But neither here nor there. The other thing that he said was Scotty Barnes being the future face of the league. It must have been a very emotional moment for him because hey, he's definitely a superstar. He's definitely, potential all-star. But the face of the league, Scotty Barnes. Listen, South Florida, Palm Beach County boy. I feel you, bro. Rookie of the
Yeah.
year, it was rookie of the year last year, right? Something
He
like
was
that.
no. Scotty Barnes is in his third. Listen, we don't got to continue on Scotty Barnes. We can just move on from the whole Scotty Barnes conversation. Shout out to Scotty Barnes. I fuck with Scotty Barnes.
How do you feel about Coach
That's
Darko's?
Kyrie Irving just hits a three on the Knicks.
Ooh.
And I know I cut you off here, but my cousin's in the chat. Shout out to Lou Upper Class Arms. You family. He said every stream I'm gonna ask June to say something nice about the Knicks. So I'm gonna work on that as we get through this part of the back end of the show here. But I just wanted to say Kyrie just splashed the three. Dallas is up 6-2 on an early start. Go ahead, EP. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good, man. How do you feel about Darko's You know what? Actually, I want to go to Ev because the way that I have this view, I forget. I'm forgetting that Ev is still here with us. Ev, how do you feel about this rant that he went on? Was it warranted? Should he been fined more? And how do you feel to the notion of, hey, we understand that was a bad call, but you shouldn't have let the game be that close towards the end and leave it in the ref's hand to make that call?
I feel like he should be fined for not playing anyone over the fucking size of 6'9" when you're playing against Anthony Davis and LeBron James, dudes who play inside on the paint. Like, of course there's gonna be fouls. You playing small against a big ass team. like,
Yeah.
like what you expect? You're on the road against LA, and I think they closed with a lineup. I think it was Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quigley, and Dennis Schroeder. Like, those are little guys against Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Like, yeah, there's fouls because those dudes are bigger than you and they play an inside game. Like, I don't know. Like, the one call that was called the offensive foul that was called on RJ Barrett towards the end, where like Anthony Davis threw his big ass on the floor and that was a flop. Like, yeah, that's egregious. And most times that's always going to be egregious. But you can't call foul on a physical game when you're not matching the other team's physicality. And that was a choice not to match the other team's physicality because they never thought to put another big man in there.
Right.
So you kind of die on that sword. You want to play small, go ahead. The Lakers are going to play a lot bigger. They're going to go to the line and they're going to, complete those attempts.
Hey, real quick, June, before we get your response to that, shout out to Sal in the chat. Breaking news: Juan Soto's deal is $31 million for 1 year.
Wow.
1 year deal for Juan Soto, $31 million. Woo! Let's go. Anyway,
shout out to Sal because, like I said, Eve, man, we used to end the podcast and then there would be some breaking news alert on our phone that we're like, okay, well, we could have talked about that. So shout out to Sal being on his shit. Sal's always the
we ended the podcast when the Dodgers did what they did.
Exactly with Shohei. Yeah, as far as real quick, and also Sal in the chat, that was funny. Sun God. I don't know if anybody else got that reference, but that was Amon Ross St. Brown reference. He went to the Arizona Sun Devils, so just called him Sun God. It took me a second to calculate that one, but yeah, Darko, man. What I will say is Evan Turner. I'm not a fan of Evan Turner. I was once a fan of Evan Turner, and I'm talking about Evan Turner of Ohio State, like
Facts.
2008, 2009. I'm saying like nobody could guard this guy, and he didn't even have like a jump shot for it. But he got to the NBA, had I guess, if you will, successful career. He is now in the media world, podcasting world, and he be saying a lot of crazy stuff. I'm not gonna get on to his case as far as the things he does say, but it was uncalled for him to try to make a joke out of the accent because the Toronto Raptors coach isn't from America, so um, just kind of some hate there, and he apologized for it, but he also kind of like giggled through the apology, so it didn't even seem sincere. Anyways, I feel the coach. At any time you have 23-2 on the free throw discrepancy, you have right to be upset. Whether you were attacking more or whether they were attacking you guys more than you, whether you gave up 3 or 4 bad calls, 23 is insane. And I think Anthony Davis had about 11 of those himself. The call on RJ Barrett, to me, was an offensive foul. It was a flop on Anthony Davis, his part. However, I don't believe RJ Barrett's feet were set. I think it was one of those Draymond Green specials that the Warriors been running since 2015.
I can see
And
that.
it is the NBA. It is a physical sport. Like it's not perfect. The refs don't call everything. They're not going to call that every time. So that's where it gets kind of wishy-washy. But I do think it was a foul. It just came at a bad time. And this is more of a recurring issue we talk about on the podcast more so than is the coach crazy for saying what he did. The NBA has a officiating issue, and it's getting worse by the month. Um, the ego that is involved in the job should be exiled from the sport. And the NBA, we've said it all the time. A lot of people say this on social media stuff, but the NBA should talk after the post game conference. I would be post game conference. It wouldn't necessarily to fix any issue, but what I think it wouldn't fix any issues on what just fired. It would make themselves. And this game has a ref or ball or make. He has to stand outlook on how he makes certain points of the game. But that also the minutes where he might out, and we're putting too much pressure on referees. So it's one of those double-edged sword catch-22 things. I hope Adam Silver can address as
Yeah.
what had across sports. I say B had as well, but the NFL dropping the ball in the Detroit against Cowboys games. Like, do we take jobs? And I'm not here, honestly questioning the officials in the ever. I think that they do need to be held a little bit more accountable.
I hear you. I definitely agree. I would actually love to see them kind of, stand 10 toes in whatever they're calling and their calls, good, bad, admit to at the very least being wrong, something of the sort. I don't know how I feel about them being fined yet for making bad calls because that is livelihood. We're talking about people's livelihood, people's family at that point. But I mean, when people are losing games, it could be the coach's livelihood at that point. So it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? The NBA followed suit with the NFL today, and we had one of the first overseas games. And before I go to that, shout out to Sal correcting June.
Yeah,
And
I was. I'm like, bro, that's hilarious.
shout out to Sal correcting June, saying Amun Ra, slight variation of Amun Ra means god of sun Egyptian mythology. It's not because he went to Arizona State University. And Antoine the Don, who actually does have a comedy show February 4th, so go catch Antoine down in Hollywood, Florida, top of the month next month. Funny.
Hollywood Live.
Yeah, Hollywood Live. Funny dude. We talk to him on a daily basis. He's always having us cracking up. Guys, go enjoy a good time and some good vibes with Antoine
I'll
the
say
Don.
this: he
February
might
4th.
make a joke that makes you feel some type of way. Just like that's my bro. I can say that.
Facts. He might make a joke that's gonna have your girl looking at you some type of way too, but that's neither here nor there.
He might make a joke that might have your girl on his stage, but we'll leave that to the
The NBA followed suit in the NFL today. We had some Paris games. Donovan Mitchell, 45 points, 20 some odd points in the fourth quarter, just completely took over, led the Cavs to a 111, 102 win. Shout out to Less Risk, More Profit, who Antoine Adon is a part of, and our boy Gio. They called it in our chat, Cavs -3.5. They said was easy money. And shout out to Donovan Mitchell. He made it as easy as possible for the cash today. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, boys and girls, this was the Thursday night episode of All Things Sports, your number one sports podcast. Yes, talk to me. Talk to me.
Before we get, I didn't want to get out of here real quick. Just let's kind of end this on a funny topic. Before the topic, I'm going to bring up, because Donovan Mitchell's name was ringing. We spoke about him throughout the week, and I saw some conversation back and forth on Twitter. Yes, but I do want to acknowledge, and if my cousin Lou is still out there somewhere, I hope he is. If not, I'll clip this and send it to him, because, man, the Knicks look very good since acquiring OG Anunoby in a trade with Precious Achua and some other light-skinned guy who's not going to get any PT for Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett. Talk to me about one real quick, Ev, before we get out of here, your initial feelings when you saw the trade. I heard, on a space, shout to Knicks on 1, Knicks at 6, whatever it is, y'all call it, man. Shout to I Hate Sean on Twitter, Breeze, Mora, Brill, and that squad for bringing one of the best Knicks post-game shows or day after shows on Twitter. Go follow I Hate Sean and them boys so that you can, if you're a Knicks fan, follow up with them. However, I want to hear it on the All Things Sports podcast. Ev, your first initial thoughts on the trade, your thoughts 2 games after, and now that we're at a 5-game win streak for the Knicks, trying to make it 6 in Dallas right now, where Jalen Brunson's facing his old team. How you feel tonight? Can we do that?
Yeah. So just to break it down from the beginning to where we're at today. So when the trade first happened, they didn't send the full trade out initially, right? It was OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett and draft considerations. So I'm thinking, I didn't hate it initially off the rip. I was shocked because I didn't see it happening, especially the day after a game and before the new year kind of turned over. I still felt like the Knicks had a little bit more time to figure things out with, their team as it was previously. Then it comes out as Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett. That's why I was very upset. I rate Emmanuel Quickly very high. Very high. And again, they still didn't say what the draft considerations was. And then knowing everything about how it was Masai was playing games about what he wanted for OG Anunoby, I'm like, these dudes really gave up RJ Quickly in like 2 firsts. So it comes out that it's a second, and that the Knicks are also getting back some filler and Precious Achua and Malachi Flynn, who's not going to see any burn.
Oh, that's him. Sorry.
Who's not going to see any legit burn. So, once I kind of sift through the emotions of like losing RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly again, I wasn't too heartbroken about RJ Barrett because the writing was on the wall. I had said probably about a week or 2 before he was traded, I was like, RJ, upgrade your game or the team's going to upgrade your game for you. As in, they're going to get you out the door. He didn't upgrade his game for whatever that reason be. Some people argue he didn't have a lot of opportunities. I would say he had a fair amount of opportunities. A fair enough amount. Enough for him to at least solidify his spot in on the next roster. But Emmanuel Quickly was more so a contract breakdown. They didn't want to pay him. Basically, he wanted above what Jalen Brunson was getting paid. He wasn't going to get that on his team. So, once the trade was done and I kind of understood all the pieces that was coming back, I was like, I know this is a shell of what can be a competing team on the high end in the East, depending on what next move is coming for the Knicks. I know bringing OG Anunoby in is going to improve the defense and it's going to improve our open three-point shooting, which is somewhere where RJ Barrett hurt the Knicks a lot. So I knew that was going to happen. And one game in, I'm not going to hold you, probably about third quarter of the Minnesota Timberwolves game, I was like, oh, shit, this is lit.
This is it.
I was like, oh, man. These motherfuckers is buzzing. The ball was going all over the place. With OG Anunoby, when he gets the ball, even if he's not shooting it, he'll come off it a lot faster than RJ Barrett would, because I felt like though it wasn't a full catering to RJ's development, there was enough of a catering to RJ's development where it slowed down the offense. because
Yeah.
the Knicks did try whatever they can in their power to get that man to about 20 points a game.
Yeah.
So you kind of saw that go away with OG Anunoby coming in. He's a better shooter. He's a better finisher around the rim because he won't even mess around trying to lay up. He's like, oh, I got enough space to dunk it, I'm gonna dunk it. So he does that already. So he's already completing on a higher level for that. And it really opened up Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson's offense even further. So with that, I like the Knicks as a real dark horse to get to the Eastern Conference, finals. I don't really rate a lot of teams in the East that highly. To me, all season I felt like the elites were Boston, Milwaukee, Miami. I didn't rate Philly that high because what have they done? And Miami, for as much as they might fuck around in the regular season, we already know what happens when the playoffs start and how to get down to brass tacks. So they're always going to be that zombie. Miami is basically like a street fighter who's just been in so many fights that their record looks good. You know what I mean? Like they fought over 50 times and they got like 38 wins. So it's like, they be scrapping a lot,
Right.
So that's kind of like how I feel about Miami. But I do feel like the Knicks can really sneak into that top 3 with the team as it stands, and they have a lot of room to make another move. So, I mean, everything's up for the Knicks. The first time you had me on about a year and some change ago was in the middle of the Knicks winning streak. And again, it was about everything kind of projecting us up and it being sustainable success. And we're still, at that point today.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate those words, man. Knicks, like I said, they look good, man. And since the trade, I was an RJ Barrett fan coming into the league. I'm a Duke fan, so I've always supported RJ Barrett, and I hope for more success in his New York tenure. But it looks like he'll be able to find some success in Toronto. Him and quickly have found stride, over there and been able to do some nice things. So shout out to them. I think Quickly's one of those guys who you can put on any team in this league and he'll give you some production. Like he's going to give you some sort of production, give you up to 18 to 22 points just coming off the bench or starting. So shout out to Emmanuel Quickly for, bag chasing and also just being with whatever, because he had a role in New York from my vantage point that he didn't have to play. He's a starter in this league, and he came off the bench to be that 6-man for you guys, and he did it exquisitely. So shout out to Quickly for that. Barrett, I hope that he can become that 24, 23 point per game guy. I'm not sure that's in his future, but with the right coaching, I know Tibbs is a guy who he kind of cuts the blood off some guys. So if that even makes sense, but you get what I'm saying. He hopefully this trade works out for everybody. Toronto was in a dark place for the last year and a half or so. I like what they've been able to do with their roster construction. So we'll get you out of here soon, bro. I promise you. I think EP's about to close us out right here. But man, what a show! I appreciate y'all. We've had some funny times. We had a jump in chat, and it's all love. It's all love.
No,
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Ev. Thank you, everybody that tapped in. Nate Perk, Cardi, Marlon for the brief moment that we had him. There is a pretty great weekend outside of the wild card weekend. There's a great weekend in soccer. If you do watch, club soccer, EPL is popping this weekend. Aston Villa looks to kind of stay on top in the number 2 spot in the table, right ahead of Man City. So we have Newcastle versus Man City. We got Everton versus Aston Villa, Man United versus Tottenham, Burnley versus Luton Town, Chelsea versus Fulham. So it's definitely a packed weekend that we have here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this was your All Things Sports Podcast Thursday night episode, NFL 2023-2024 wildcard weekend in a couple days, 48 hours approximately. We will see you when we see you, but we will see you soon. Thank you so much.